Hello and welcome to Law and Order SVU here on FANVERSATION. I am Yael Tygiel. I am joined, as always, by Felicia Michelle. Hello, Felicia.
Hey, guys.
I'm also joined by Taylor Gates. Hello, Taylor.
Hello.
Hello. We are discussing Season 23, Episode 1 and 2. Season 23, Episode 1, that is And the Empire Strikes Back. Season 23, Episode 2 is Never Turn Your Back on Them. Before we dive into these episodes, I liked it, Taylor. That was good. Before we dive into these episodes, some friendly reminders on how things work here for Law and Order SVU. First and foremost, if you were assaulted and need someone to talk to, please reach out to RAINN. Their number is 1-800-656-4673. 1-800-656-4673. What does 4673 spell?
It spells. Oh. Okay, that was like in unison. I'll allow that one. Actually, that was kind of sweet.
Amazing. It does spell hope. And if you're new here, consider this your content warning. Sometimes the show goes dark or loses its mind. And when it does that, we say what is on our mind without a filter. So consider this your content warning. A lot of stuff will be coming out of our mouths, and I am assuming profanity as well. So
maybe
we're going to start there. We're going to let you know. Thank you that we see people here live in the chat. Please join us if you're live in this conversation. We love hearing from you. Let me start with, I guess, the simplest question, the one I know the answer to for all of you. What did you think about this 2-hour season premiere? Felicia, would you like to start?
I can. I watched it. I watched it on Friday, and because I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, it's like Friday night. I'm the week is done. And I'm like, watched it, and I fell asleep.
Oh.
I fell asleep, y'all. And I was like, what does that mean? And I was like, does it mean I'm tired? And I was like, it could be, but I think it meant that I couldn't, it was a lot going on and nothing going on at the same damn time. And I just and even though I fell asleep, I did kind of understand what happened still, but okay. I don't want to say I didn't like it. I just want to say maybe it's a precursor to something that I will like.
Okay. All right. Taylor, what did you think?
Here's the thing. I tend to like stories that are small, contained, not simple. I like my twists and turns, but I like it when things are on a more intimate scale. And they took on a lot with these. And I respect that was a risk and that was exciting. Wasn't my thing. It was too, we're working with a presidential candidate. I'm like, let's just go back to the basics. You know what I mean? I feel like we just went a little far out. Not to mention our little character shakeups, which we will talk about, but it was not my favorite premiere. I'm just going to leave it at that. There were parts, there were lines, there were elements that I did like. Overall, though, not my absolute fave.
All right, we have people sharing their opinions in the chat. I love this. Daryl says, hated it. Samantha says, I thought it was amazing. I loved it.
That's fair.
Jennifer says, thought it was boring. We
got the whole spectrum of opinions going on here.
Yeah.
Well, it's not all, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater type of thing. I think that's what it is. It's a great show. This is a great show, period. So, but maybe we're just, our standards are just extremely ridiculously high, and our wants and needs from the show are way
And it's personal taste thing too. This is just not the kind of case I gravitate towards, and that's okay. It is what some people gravitate towards.
Yeah. Zach says, honestly, I liked it. Here's how I felt. Upon first viewing, I was annoyed. I will say this. It was because this was a continuation of the season finale. It's a 3-part arc. And if a 3-part arc happens, then a lot needs to happen. And honestly, we started and ended in the same place because all of our witnesses that we picked up and met throughout the episodes, dead. Everybody ended up dead. Who went to jail? Pretty much nobody. We found out that the person every level, every step of the way was there's someone worse, right? Like originally we thought it was just the super at the building. Yeah. And then we found out that the super actually worked for someone else. And then we found out that that person worked for someone else. And then we found out it was a senator who's running for president. And it's not just him, it's his lawyer who knows all these other
we just bitch slaps people.
that was really something.
It just got so much, we went so deep into it. And in the end, people were either dead or not going to be charged. And the only person that went down was our senator. And that that is very obnoxious to have 3 episodes result that way. I also, and we'll talk about Kat and Garland. I think that personally, those were the worst part of the episode, was us getting rid of them, and we will discuss it. But I want to talk about McGrath as a character. Right? Yes, I want to talk about McGrath.
Let's do it.
Okay. But before I do that, I want to actually give a shout out to our congressman. Ben Rappaport is the actor who played Congressman Howard. And I feel like when I see him on TV, he's always the like clean cut, nice guy, quiet, like all American, you kind of pushovery guy. So to see him being gross and evil was nice. It was a nice change.
That was all American.
Throw hands. So,
I mean, yes, it was all American. Good job, Felicia.
Well.
But yeah, let's talk about McGrath, because that's Terry Serpico is the actor. I feel like always plays an asshole, and he does it so well, and I hate him. And I want to give props to that actor, because I am like filled with rage towards that character. So much rage towards that character that is impressive. And the way that we end the season, that his whole behavior, the episode, the way his behavior is repugnant. And I think it is fascinating to see Benson in a leadership role dealing with that. I think that that's the point, is to see her deal with that. And I know that a lot of fans on Twitter, are very upset with where they perceive the season is going. And honestly, this McGrath thing, as much as I loathe him, I'm fascinated to see how that happens and where it goes. Felicia, any thoughts?
Oh, I literally thought every single second. Like, any thoughts? Of course, they can always be yes. Like, it doesn't matter the topic.
I have no thoughts ever.
It's just I when you're saying like the future of the show and the season and the writing and where this character could possibly go, I'm just like, maybe it's given opposite, right? Maybe it's given the antithesis of like you're rude. Maybe it's given antithesis of what we're normally seeing here. We're usually seeing a lot of do-gooders, a lot of good things happening, and we see it from the side of good. But if we're talking about last season, piggybacking off of last season, we're talking about corruption, police brutality, abuse of power. We're talking about all of those things. So how can we talk about it through the lens of a good guy like Garland? Like we can't. And he would constantly, we saw, keep getting beat over the head anyway by these people. So now I guess it's a way of like removing that middleman, even though I think he should still be there, and showing this from the inside. And it has to be this horrible character that we don't really like, even though he does always play an asshole. He does it so well.
He's so good
at it. But we have to see it, because we actually want to see the corruption, want to see that, like, and it can't be our squad, and it can't be anybody affiliated with our squad, and they still have to be higher up. So it probably just has to be this guy.
But in my opinion, it feels almost redundant, because we know it's corrupt. Like, everyone knows that. So like, why are we spending time to solidify it with this guy who's not black, like, or who's not gray to me? He's just bad and evil, and it's not as nuanced as I think it could be. And that's why I really liked how we saw Garland going through it, because it was like so much more complex and complicated. And this feels like it's very cut and dry. He's the bad guy. You know what I mean? I thought it was more interesting to see it through the lens of Garland than this guy who just, like, we hate him, he sucks, regardless. Like, he's terrible.
Like he always sucked. Like there was never a time where we didn't know if he sucked or not. Like he
Exactly.
I think you both make very valid points. I think that that Garland does feel like, you know, he's the old guard who is not letting go, who is not letting progress and change and restructuring. He's the one who's like, no. And I think that that's so interesting because now they're like, all right, we need to see that so we can fight against it. But I think Taylor's right that like, we know it's there. Maybe we know it's there, but there are people who don't. Yes.
It just feels like we did it backwards then. Like, why wouldn't we have this guy last season and then we bring Garland in? You know what I mean? It feels like we're reverting back, which I'm not saying that doesn't happen in real life. That's actually probably really realistic. But from like a storytelling point of view, it feels odd to me.
I think those are fair points. Jennifer says, I think it adds tension to the show. And I think that's true. I want to talk about Garland now because we're already like halfway there. So let's just talk about Garland. I'm mixing up the order because there's a moment where where Benson says,
Like what?
Oh yes, call me Olivia.
Yes. So there's a moment where Garland keeps getting kind of ignored and glossed over through the two episodes. Through the episodes.
No, he was getting shut out.
Shut out. Yes.
Shut out.
Shut out. I couldn't find the word I was looking for.
Look,
I have had a long Sunday.
It is literally like the equivalent of being like, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're at the mall. No one called you? No,
so,
called me.
Yes. My issue is when Benson is like, oh, that's so weird. And he's like, it's fine. And she's like, and he says at the end, he says, thank you for having my back. And she says, always. And I literally shouted, you didn't. You actually didn't. You were told to keep him out, and then you did. You kept him out. You didn't have his back. I hope that when Garland comes back and is, as he says, he can do better from the outside. I hope that when he does, he goes, hey, remember when you didn't have my back and claimed that you did? It's very upset. I'm very upset.
But was she saying like she had his back? Because like there was two instances where she was given information and told not to convey that to him.
And one twice she didn't
on camera, but I don't remember her being told explicitly like don't tell him about the press conference. So I think maybe I don't know.
So she wasn't told don't tell him at the press conference. She was told at the press conference it's better that he's not here.
Sure, and then.
Yeah, and she was like, odd. And then when he was like, weird that there must have been an error, she wasn't like, no, he actually said that he didn't want you there. It's not starting drama. It is being there for him. You're on his side.
Not the drama. Is it me? Olivia, kind of there. It was you because you didn't like look out for him, you know?
I will say, I interpreted that comment as like in general, thank you for being there for me. Like I don't think it was like you're right. There's holes in that. She hasn't always been there for him, but I think overall, in the grand scheme, she's been an ally to him mostly.
Yeah.
Okay, except for this time where like
I agree.
But this is the time where like it mattered the most.
That's true.
He is being pushed out, and she is not.
She's like
she doesn't have his back at all.
Let me tell you a whole bunch of stuff about the two character exits made zero sense to your girl over here. Like none at all. Like, and you guys, I will find my way around to some understanding. I will play the devil's advocate. I will do it. But none of these things make sense. Like Olivia doing that does not make sense. Us even, as we're sitting here even talking about it, and I'm like, this conversation we're having doesn't even sound like we're talking about Olivia Benson, because like she literally is like a synonym for like loyalty and like having someone's back. We've seen her multiple times. Jennifer, I thought it, you said it, boo, but
Jennifer is coming in with
Jennifer is said roast time. Okay.
This is the same, thing. Olivia brought Garland some beet juice and acted like it was all
Stop, not the beet juice.
She will not let the beet juice go.
I will not let it go because I'm just saying, like.
No, you're right, and I'll say.
But it's odd though. It just doesn't feel right. The speech he gave, the whole bit of it, it felt like with him and with Kat and their exit stories just felt out of line with their character, disingenuous to the viewers because these are characters we know and love, and we have a weird relationship with them and understanding of who they are, and these were totally not in line with who these two people are, and you showed us for 2 seasons that these who's like what, like I was watching it and I like rewind it and I was like, what are they saying, like what are the words coming out? And then my heart was breaking because I thought about the actual actors playing this and having to say goodbye in this scene, and I'm like, it must really make their skin crawl to speak as a character that they now have known and occupied for such a long time, and know that those words don't genuinely come out as a character. Not that I'm not saying performance-wise, I think they both gave beautiful performances, and as they're exiting the series, and kudos to them. But I just thought in my logical mind, like, imagine saying those words, knowing you don't want to leave the show, and knowing that this doesn't make sense to your character. So
I will say this. I think of the 2 exits, Garland made the more sense. I'm not saying it made sense, but it made the more sense, right? Like, first of all, we saw at the end of last season that they're after him. They were, the entire department was coming after him, and they were trying to get him out. So I understand that he chose to leave because no one wants to keep working in a hostile environment. And I think that the argument that he could make a difference from the outside is a reasonable guess. that is possible, that is a better move. If you're inside and everyone is attacking you and you have no chance to grow, to make change, to be heard, then I understand the choice to leave. So I do get it. The other one, which we'll talk about in a bit, makes 0 sense. The argument of I want to see change and then being like, so I'm out, I give up.
It's been a year.
Right. You just got promoted. Like you're progress. Anyway, we'll get to it. I will, but I agree with you, Felicia, 100%. I did think about how painful it must be as an actor to know that this was not your choice, and to sit there and go, here's why it's my choice.
Yeah. And
I was watching for it too, the way they delivered it. And I agree with you. I was like, they're doing a good job. Like, they're almost making me believe it by their sheer power. But if you think about it, it doesn't make sense.
And the thing is, they're actually like really good friends. Like the character who plays Garland, the character who plays Carisi, and I don't know anybody's name. I don't even know these girls' names half the time, but they actually are real life friends. I followed these people on social media. They're like good friends. Like this is like a familial type of set to be on. Even guest stars talk about all the time how like it's so comfortable and it's a family atmosphere there, and you're part of this franchise, and you're super excited. And I mean, I'm not trying to be smart or nothing, but like as far as diversity and stuff goes these days, I would have, if I were either of them, I would have been like, oh, I think my character is probably pretty secure on this show because I represent a certain group of people, a demographic of people, a type of people. Like I represent something. And I would have thought I was safe. So I can't imagine how they felt hearing that and then having to perform that. Again, they did an amazing job. I
want to bring
them back. Let's go. We can't go on strike. Can we start a Twitter hashtag?
So I want to bring up a character that was introduced.
Don't do this. No, just kidding. Do it.
I want to bring up Detective Joe Velasco.
Oh.
Who was our undercover, McGrath's undercover dude. I would like to understand what and why, because I think that had we not been losing 2 people, I think we would have enjoyed his performance and liked this character more.
Here's the thing
about
Joe Velasco. I liked him for these 2 episodes. I don't want him full time. I enjoyed him for what he was here. I think we're going full time route, and I'm not here for it, especially that moment where he's talking about how he exaggerated like his dad's abuse. I was like, you suck. Like, I was so here for you. That's not okay to do that. Like, I hated that, and I'm not on the side now, and that was just the nail in the coffin for him. Now, he's gonna have to change a lot before I trust him again, because that made me pissed off.
Felicia, any opinions on Joe Velasco?
Your face.
My face. Yeah, if you are listening to us on iTunes, you cannot see my face of bit of disdain. But if you are listening, give my disdain face 4 stars, 5 stars if you want me to smile.
That's really clever.
So I want it to make sense, and maybe right now it's not making sense to me, because I'm like, okay, and like definitely like Taylor said, I said, oh, I see where y'all are going with this, especially now because we have Garland's gone, McGrath is in charge, and this is his boy, right? So you always bring in your homies first, right? Your friends first, right? So it's like, oh, now, and at the end when I was like, oh, McGrath is in charge, Olivia reporting to me, I said, okay, I see what's happening, and we're probably gonna end up seeing more of this character. But in my head, I'm like, why? Like, what is so special about him? What is so special about him? Like, what is so special about him? Tell me where we haven't seen him. I'm sorry, excuse me. Him in this Dick Wolf universe, specifically already in the SVU realm and on television, every other place. We've already seen him. I don't know his name individually, but I'm just saying we've seen him and that character type many a times, even on this show. So you're going to have to give me something more to go off of than he's a good actor undercover and is he Irish Catholic too? Like, what's up? Like, like, seriously, like, are we going to keep seeing the same? That's the frustration for me. Like, don't take away 2 people like that and then say, here he is. Like, no, you're going to have to give me something. You're going to give me something better than that.
I'm going to say this. If Kat and Garland did not get removed,
he'd be great.
I would be okay with this addition. But it seems like this is what we're getting instead. And if it is a big ploy to deceive us, and it's McGrath and his guy, and then we're going to go a few more episodes and something's going to happen and Kat's back, or Garland reappears because he now is doing something that's going to help change the system, then fine. But at this point, I don't want him. I don't want McGrath. I don't want what's happening. I'm angry and sad.
Here's the thing. I liked him better as Q. Keep him as Q. That was a great character. It was like big Dizzer energy. Like, I loved it.
Yes, it very much was Dizzer energy.
Reck and Dex are getting sex. Am I right?
You're right. You're right.
Breaking Dex was that way.
Reck and Dex getting sex.
Here we go.
It's what's so interesting about the case itself, this 3-episode arc case, is how much it felt like the Ganzel and Delia arc, which was the end of season 13 and the beginning of season 14. It felt the same, right? Like we have someone we're going after. We have all of the witnesses. All of the witnesses get murdered or forced to suicide or whatever. And then we get the big bad who actually could take down worse people. Like, it's almost the exact same story. The difference is that Genzel and Delia were prostitutes, and this one is trafficking. Zach in the chat says, give me a few more episodes before I make a final judgment on Velasco. I assume we will have that. It feels like we will.
That's fair, Zach. But I like judging. So
yeah, we have to. That's what we're here for. I will say, like, and I'm sure that everyone knows this by now, no shade towards this actor. Like, I think he actually did a really good job. And I found, like, the roof moment I thought was actually really interesting. I really enjoyed that scene. But then you go and say it was a lie. It's like, that's what I can't come to terms with.
So somebody, where did it go? Daryl says, but was he exaggerating, though? Look how he reacted to the girl's father. It is possible that he was playing it down to Rollins. Because
true.
Rollins' reaction was also like, sure. So the actor that we should give a shout out to is Octavio Pisano. Really amazing performance as both Velasco and Q.
I agree. No, I really thought he did a great job. I'm just like, in the grand scheme of the show and the dynamics.
What do we need you for? What you doing here?
Yeah.
Right.
What are you contributing to the potluck of the show?
What do you bring to the table?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Kat. First of all, I thought they were gonna kill her in the.
I would have been
so upset too. I was like, oh my God, please don't die, because if you die, you can't come back. Ever.
If you bury your gaze,
yes,
that's not gonna be okay with me.
Honestly,
wait, what do you mean you bury your gaze? Flowers don't pop up?
Oh no,
it's a trope. Like TV shows have a history of killing off their queer characters.
You bury your gaze and flowers pop up.
I love that.
But educate the people.
Thank you. I was like, I don't know if I don't know if you get it. I don't know if the audience gets it. But yes, that's a trope. And I was gonna be very unhappy. I'm glad they didn't go that route. But the route they went, I wasn't happy with either.
So I will say this: as we're in the ambulance and she's her heart's stopping, I, in my head, was like, "There's no way these writers are not aware of this trope and the damage that it does, and the community fighting against it. There's no way they would be so reckless." And then her heart stopped. I went, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I was livid. So the fact that she didn't die is a nice relief. It was
bare minimum, but still.
Right. I just was so upset at the possibility, which I guess, letting us know that her character is going to leave the show and then almost killing her. Yeah, you successfully convinced us it was possible that she could die. Because a lot of times on the show, I feel like we know someone isn't going to die because they have contract or we've seen them in the promo or whatever. So I think
no, she could die.
She could have died. Yeah. I think I'm very grateful that she didn't. Especially because Kat deserves so much better. And so let's talk about her choice to leave. Because
I will say first, one thing I did like was the fact that we got a lot of scenes between her and Finn, because I think that's a really sweet relationship. And I really did like the fact that Finn was there. They have that same kind of humor. He was kind of helping her through. So I will say I did actually like that aspect of things. I thought those were really sweet, even though it was like very traumatic. It was like some sweet scenes.
No, I agree. Also, the joke was so good.
Yeah, and I was like, only those two would like tell that to each other.
Yes, Felicia.
It just was so odd, right? So we have to break down who Kat Tamina is, right? So she is strong, she is smart, she is hard-headed, she doesn't listen, and sometimes she's so focused on her goal and on that she doesn't even risk doesn't even cross her mind, right? Like, it's all about this job, about being good at this job, about getting these people, about bringing them down. And then this event happens, which is super traumatic. Yes. But how does all of that's inside of a person just go away, right? Okay. So there's this thing in life, right? There's two things. You have vision and you have sight. Okay. So your vision is what you see and what you want to happen and how you want things to be. And it's inherent, right? Just you just believe it and you feel it. It's in you, right? And sight is what's before you. Sight is oh damn, every every however many hours a person is being sexually assaulted. That's sight. But vision is like, we can help these people. Kat had vision, and people who have vision in them, like, they're not easily deterred. And I just can't wrap my head around this happening to her. I get it logically, oh, this happened and it changed her. But Kat, I don't know. Other people, yeah, it could change them. But Kat, hard-headedness, pig-headedness, stubbornness, all that's like in her DNA. Like, so just all of a sudden now I've decided I'm not going to help. And I'm gonna call you old and washed up in the meantime, Olivia. I'm a way out.
I think you're totally right, because the first time we meet Kat, she goes undercover and she says, "Don't come in until I say the word." And he has his hand around her throat. And she's like, "Why'd you come in?" That to me says a girl gets shot and doesn't go, "I'm not going to do this anymore." That said, I think if I'm going to name a cop that I think would, I think at this point, I think that Rollins, if she were to get shot and almost die and her heart stop, she'd be like, "I have kids. I can't do this anymore." And I would understand that.
See, every single person in this show feels like they wouldn't do it. I mean, Olivia's like running around on a broken ankle. Like, people all the time on the show, they're like, "You're on desk duty." And they're like, "I'm sure not." And they go off and do stupid shit anyway. And that Kat fits right into it, because that was what she would have done. She would have been crutching around in the field, and they would have been like, "Get back here," and she would not do it. This is not authentic. That would have been authentic to her character. Thank you.
That was beautifully said.
It's true. They're so stupid, but they're passionate.
I think maybe we're missing a scene. Like, maybe we need a scene where Kat and her girlfriend are talking about it, and the girlfriend is like, "I'm worried about you. You're going to get yourself killed, blah, blah, blah." But I think the things that Kat says to Benson, that she's like, I'm not at a place where I can say these things, where I can make the change I want to see. Then don't leave. Keep going. Like,
like, does my voice matter? Bitch, yeah, it does. Like, it does.
Well, it just seems strange that her energy just didn't go to something else. Like, she didn't say like, "Oh, I've always had in the back of my mind thought about working with victims like this, or being in this law enforcement or advocacy, or some other place I can help." Not just, "I quit, the world sucks and I quit and I'm gonna quit." Yo, that monologue really got me real good, because it's like, Jamie did that. Like, she basically was like, I'm gonna leave while I can be young and happy and not be 20 years in and be miserable and stuck like you. You gotta believe it's gonna get better, because you 20 years in. I can leave and just go on with my life. And I was like, it was kind of like, it was funny a little bit to me, because it was like, is that shade, or like, what is that? Like, was that meant to be shade, or was that meant to be like, she has a fear of ending up like Rollins, or like Olivia, even though she loves Olivia and she has idolized her. So it's really weird also too for her to then come back with Olivia like, "Oh, I don't want to end up like you," basically, when you've idolized her. I don't know. It was just really, really strange, guys.
I agree. I'm shocked that it wasn't, "I've decided to go back to school. I'm going to do this. I've decided I'm going to be a social worker. I've decided I'm going to
be undercover 100%, or something like that, like where you can like be in it," because she loves being undercover. Like, that's again how we met her, is undercover. It's dumbfounding. I just can't understand it. And again, I'll say this. I know a lot of people were tweeting anger about a billboard, which we'll talk about in just a bit, but resulted in conversations on Twitter. And I saw Mr. Warren Light point out that, there's these first 5 episodes, something special is happening. And I don't know what that means. But he said, watch the first 5 episodes and see. If Will, he said 5.
5. We're 2 in, so 3 more.
I hope it's a big trick. I really hope it's a big. I hope they got me. I really do.
Bald head and a goatee again. That would be great for me.
So I just think I'm with Taylor that I wanna believe that in 5 episodes
As a mirage.
Like,
So-
I hope that you're punking me. I
yeah,
really
that they come
do.
back, that this was a lie.
That'd be amazing. They'd get their social media on. Like, that would be wonderful marketing, an amazing trick. I don't think it's gonna happen,
Same.
but I would be very pleased if it did.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll give it 5. Okay. I mean, I'm gonna watch it regardless.
We're giving it the whole season and then the next one, but
Yeah.
We'll give it until you finish running.
yeah,
Until
we'll give
these are
it,
done airing,
we'll give
but
it
still-
through the series.
Know what we want, though. You know.
It just again, and especially hers. Yeah, I know I brought up a little bit earlier in our conversation about like watching those actors say those words, and particularly for her, I felt like it was hard. Like I can't imagine, like, because she was really upset about her character, you know, Kat not being a part of the show anymore. Even though I don't feel like she was disrespectfully upset, I think she was just disappointed, and it made it very clear, like on her social media, that she was really disappointed, and this wasn't her choice, and it's not something that she wanted. So I just feel really bad because again, there's a huge portion of people who are in the Law and Order SVU universe fandom that Kat was like really their first representation. So it just sucks to lose her. That sucks.
Absolutely. We, for those who are just joining us for the first time on this episode, we did talk about this and share our knee-jerk reactions to this news a couple episodes ago. So if you check out older episodes of our show, it was 2 episodes
before last.
Yeah, it was Theater Tricks.
Yeah.
So definitely go and check that out. We're not done. I'm just letting you know. You can go check that out here on.
Just in case. Yeah. Sorry.
Here on YouTube, but also on iTunes. Let's talk about the Raleigh of it all.
Is that, you got to stop doing that? You good with the ships, but you're not good at naming them.
I didn't name
This
them
is
Raleigh.
the name. This is the name.
That's not, we're going with Raleigh. That's really
What are you gonna go with?
Joke.
What are you going with?
Serious?
Collins? What do you want? Collins? What do you want?
That sounds like it should be on this show, Raleigh.
Look, first of all, Felicia, 100% I'm terrible at naming ships. I never take them.
I didn't do that one though.
I am the worst. That's why I don't do it. I always wait for the fans.
Raleigh.
Yeah.
I like it. It kind of rolls off the tongue.
It's like Barisi, but Raleigh.
But a step down.
But the wrong one with Carisi. Let's talk about Raleigh, because I know there are people who've been waiting for this to happen, and in the season finale, we got that kiss, and now they're official.
Here's the thing. That's how I'm going to start everything. Here's the thing.
Okay.
I was so anti-Raleigh for so long. I'm kind of into it. I like the sneaking around. Like it's kind of spicy. I don't hate it anymore.
Really?
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I really don't hate it anymore.
Felicia?
I'm the opposite. Y'all know I was like here for it, and I saw it, and I was like,
now that you have it, you don't want it anymore.
It's like, I don't know. I feel like me and like this applesauce packet had more chemistry during this show than they had on. Like, where did y'all chemistry go? Like, where did it go? Like, it just like disappeared. And then she kind of doesn't even really see, you know how Amanda is, y'all. She's fickle. She's very fickle. Very fickle. And I think that that's what's happening now, because he was like, I'm very serious about this. And she's like, no, let's not tell anybody just yet.
She just wants to sneak around the courthouse, and I respect that.
Here's how I feel about it. Everyone knows that I still believe that Barba and Carisi are meant to be. Look, they are. I don't care what anyone says they're endgame. So
I agree.
Thank you. But I, at the end of last season, I felt the kiss was justified. It made sense. I felt it. The chemistry and passion was there. I did not expect the kiss to lead to more kissing. I expected it to be a tension builder, that who knows what's happening with them, and are they, will they, won't they? That's what I was expecting. So to see them together was unexpected. I'm not a big fan. And when she was like, I know you're worried and you're working on the case, but like, could you take a break? And I went, this girl is going to be bad for his career. She is going to distract him, and he is on his way to becoming, somebody big in his field, and she's a bad influence.
You sound like someone's Irish Catholic mother. Oh my God. He sounds like someone's mom.
You're not wrong though. Like that was, and it was also kind of bizarre. Like that doesn't feel very Amanda to me. She'd be like, no, keep working. Like I don't see her being.
Or she'd bring food. She'd be like, I bought pizza here.
Yeah, she didn't. Yeah, I agree.
Y'all know Amanda is weird. Okay, y'all know that she's a little weird sometimes, especially when it comes to love. Look at all the different people that we've romantically like seen her linked up to. It's not a one type of guy. Like she doesn't.
Well, up until this, it has been. They've all been authority figures. It like was a thing.
I mean, like personality wise, like
sure. She previously had. I think it was Benson who pointed out to her that she like has an issue with, because of her dad, she has an issue with male authority figures, and that's why every time it's been someone who has had more power and there's been a imbalance, and
more money, something like that.
Yeah, and I think that we met someone who was great for her, and then we got rid of him for some reason. He just comes and goes, as we recall Sergeant Caldoon.
Why is it? What?
Yes, isn't she with Rollins?
Why isn't he a full-time character?
I think he was just there to be a love triangle.
Okay, well, we could make him not that, because I liked him.
It's just this is not what I thought I was gonna get. It's like. Which is like that whole meme. It's like what you ordered versus what you got. Like it's like I didn't think I was going to get this, and I thought that there'd be more chemistry, more excitement between the two of them. I mean, maybe these are just like a bit of like a little precursor to what is going to happen. I think that conversation where they talk about going public professionally for their relationship. Is something that's going to come into play too, because at this point now y'all have a secret that y'all are keeping from the rest of the squad.
Yeah. And also, like, I think for like HR reasons, you have to say something. If it's serious, you have to say something, and it sounds like both of you agree that it should be serious. And it is the most Rollins thing to be like, we don't have to say anything.
Not right now.
I'm kind of so here for the like other squad members finding out though, because that's just gonna be chaos, and I'm ready.
Oh, Finn's reaction will be funny. Finn,
it's gonna be amazing. They're gonna be like, "Oh, God help us!" I'm ready.
I'm here for it too.
Here's
wait for the drama.
Predictions on how the rest of the squad will react. I think Finn will have the same reaction.
They're definitely gonna walk in or something.
I think Finn's reaction is going to be exactly the same as the way he reacted to when Kat said, I was thinking about Carisi. I think he's going to go, Carisi? And then I think Benson is going to go, what took you guys so long? That's what I think.
But also, wow, this is going to be a lot of
I think
emotional labor for me.
No, I think Benson's going to be like, we don't need this right now. We don't need this right now. Like, I got a bum foot. And I don't know why she's going to take an ibuprofen for it, because I know they have to give me better drugs than that. But I guess she's
that too.
Working.
And they're short-staffed.
They're short-staffed. Now you're working. Now you are in a relationship with our ADA, like who was already a part of the squad, and that's why that presents problems and conflicts of interest right there. It's going to be a point of contingency for them probably for the rest of the season. Maybe we don't see it right now, but eventually I predict that like it will be a problem, because it is a problem, whether it's on television or in real life. You know, you're not supposed to work so closely with people who you're in romantic personal relationships with, even sometimes family. You're not supposed to do that. You know, those types of close relationships you're not supposed to, because it clouds your judgment. So I think Olivia will be probably a little like annoyed But still happy for them as friends. Finn, he's gonna have something smart to say, like, can't believe you got with Rollins, or somebody Rollins gonna take your head off, something like that. And yeah, I guess I ain't got nobody else to really ask.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the squad.
That's the squad. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah. Look,
I was over here like, did I forget somebody? And I was like, no,
Sure did.
I think she's gonna like that new guy though.
That's the thing too. I'm like, are they setting something up here?
Because of the roof situation with Jenna, because we know that Amanda's amazing at getting in people's heads really good for negotiations with people in very dangerous situations. We've seen her do it many a times. So her first thing was like, oh, I got it. I got to go out here and talk to this girl. But then she watched him do it. And, you know, like, she's a fan. She was a fan. She liked that. She did. She liked that. So he could maybe be a little trouble. And he's, like, good looking, too. So, you know,
it's interesting that you say that, because I feel like she's torn about her feelings for him, specifically because earlier she's like, the mom has my number, like, and he's like, well, she didn't answer, so she can have my number.
But that's what it gave me, enemies to lovers.
Oh, you know how much I hate that trope?
I know, but that's what it gave me, when I watched it.
I just hope that's wrong. Right, I know. I don't want it.
I'm sorry, but it might be happening.
Or a space for Carisi to feel a little, like, jealous.
Oh, totally.
Oh, he's jealous of everybody.
He really is. Calm down.
There was something else I wanted to talk about, and I don't have it in my notes, and I forgot what it was.
Yikes! There was a lot this episode.
There was. Oh, I want to talk about Benson's foot, and that. I think she injured herself. Yeah. Okay. So I think the way that they wrote it in was clever.
Yeah.
I think tying it into the case from organized crime is clever. I think for those who are new to our show, we are not watching organized crime because it does not have to do with SVU, and we're not covering it. That said, I am taking it for the team and watching the show on our behalf, and there was nothing in the premiere that mattered to this episode. But I'll say this. There also was nothing that connected to her foot. And I'm wondering if it even, like, the whole theory that it was the bad guy from Organized Crime season 1, are we just going to let it be a theory and not investigate? Was she just run off the road?
Are they on different timelines? Or not timelines, but are they in different, like,
They did adjust. Yes, the timeline was adjusted because it seemed like they were putting the car accident before the shootout in the hospital, which was the season finale of Organized Crime. It does seem like they rearranged, and our episode started picking up immediately after the wedding, right? So I think they adjusted the timeline to fit everything in, or at least that's how it felt to me as a viewer.
I just didn't know if that could be an explanation where we, like, didn't investigate that car crash or see it because maybe they were not, like, on the same, like, maybe we'll see it later or something. I don't know.
It really felt like they moved it ahead of what happened in the finale of Organized Crime, which then would have happened after the wedding.
Okay. I trust you.
Now I'm confused. All right.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
Our shared brain cell can't really handle it.
Yeah, we were all like, not sure. Yeah,
Look,
no.
As we know, I'm watching that show for us, so no one else has to. And
thank you.
It exists. It will tie in next week. And before we talk about what's happening next week, any other thoughts on the episode before we talk about best lines?
That I hope that those 2 hours of my life that I spent watching this season premiere and second episode will have the worth and value that I want it to have for the rest of the season. Because I didn't like it, and I love this show, and I want all these things to make sense. And sometimes when you have a lot going on, like Yael said, it was an arc, but it had three whole episodes. It's just the first one happened to be in our last season. So, I just don't want things to fall through the cracks, because then we end up with a lot of questions and we don't end up with those answers and those connections sometimes. And when there's a lot going on. So I need all of this to make sense. Mostly that Garland and Kat are gone. I need that to make way more sense for me. That's all I got to say about that.
Well, we'll keep talking. I'm sure more topics will come up as we keep going with our show. Next up is our segment, Best Lines. Everyone came prepared this week with our favorite line.
Prepared.
I'm sure you did. All right, Felicia.
I said, I'm sure you did. That's hilarious, because I thought to myself, Felicia, just give two, because Taylor's going to have 9,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, Felicia, what do you got?
This is like one of my favorite ones. And I think this was in the first episode from Finn. And it's when the congressman is ringing the bell at what's supposed to be the NASDAQ. And he says, there's nothing sadder than white people celebrating themselves.
There.
I was laughing so hard that Morris was sleeping. I woke him up. And then the next one is where Liv is talking about her ankle getting hurt, and she says it's fractured. He had to reset it, and that was crunchy.
Yeah, what was that?
I was like, that's so I never broken anything before, but when she was crunchy, it like kind of gave me a cringe. I guess they're trying to get the audience to be like, ugh, like.
That's an adjective you don't use for an ankle. Like,
well,
stop
I mean,
it.
Broken, putting that together is like crunchy.
Okay.
I don't know. And then obviously Finn ambulance with that amazing joke. Oh, Kat, stay up, stay awake. How many cops take screwing a light bulb? None. They bust the light bulb for being broke and the room for being black.
It's very good, actually.
I want to know who wrote the joke. I want to know who wrote the joke.
I know. I was like, who wrote that? Because that was
a writer
funny.
Write the joke, or did they go, Ice, you got a joke?
Yeah, no
I know.
kidding.
I was like, yeah, because he's funny. Yeah, he's really funny. God bless. He's funny. Like I don't know. Those are my lines.
Those are great. I'm glad you got the joke.
Nothing sad. People celebrating themselves. And he can say that to Kat, but he can't say that to anybody else on the squad now. So we're not going to get lines like that anymore.
Oh, he's still going to say it.
I hope he still says that.
They're going to be like, are we allowed to laugh?
Yeah.
All right, here are my lines. Because these are ones I'm going to start using in my real life. Okay. We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. I love that.
Good. That is good.
I love that. Welcome to politics, where the men are 4s and the girls are 10s.
Woo!
And the best defense is a gaslighting offense.
That's good.
These are too real. They're all too real.
That's good.
All right, Taylor, take it away.
Well, I, of course, took a different approach here because I love a good rebellious teen. You know this. I love babes. I love sugar. I love all of that. And we had some great ones from our girl, Jenna. Well, first of all, I do want to mention the fact that they were like, I love when they try to be hip and they're like, oh, Dua Lipa's following him. Lizzo's following him. Billie Eilish is following him. It's like, way to just drop those names in there. Really love that. I'm all about the youth. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. I would like to know which of the talent listed was like, yes, I'm an SVU fan. I love it. I want to know how many of them feel that way.
Get Lizzo on SVU immediately. I'm begging you.
I would die.
When Lizzo's our new squad member, then maybe I'll allow it.
Then we'll be like, all right, bye, Kat. Bummer.
It's Lizzo time, though. Yeah. All I do is Addie. I bought it online. I have ADHD. Okay. I told them I was interested in politics, solving climate change. Like, I just love Jenna. Like, I loved her so much. The fact that the dad said, I wanted to put a GPS tracker on her phone, And I was like, that's just Find My iPhone. Like, you don't have to put a GPS tracker. Like, it's already in there. So I was like, you're a little out of touch. We were in touch with the Dua Lipa reference, and then we were out of touch because we don't know what Find My iPhone is. When the congressman was slapping Myron, or no, sorry, Myron was slapping the congressman. Should we break this up? It's a private conversation.
He slapped the shit out of him.
That hit was so good. It was
amazing.
Honestly, it was, I would say, the best part of the whole episode.
I agree. It was so therapeutic
He
for me a
said,
lot.
slap me again. I was like, he might.
Yeah,
He's gonna do it. And honestly, I will not prosecute. I also love the line, she DM'd me from an app on a burner cell. I was like, is that a thing? I don't know. I guess it is. The fact that they knew that 420 he was a weed dealer.
Cat,
like,
Cat knew that. Only Cat.
That's what I'm
knew
saying.
that.
Yeah, Cat knew that. Okay, I have a couple more. Stay with me. Tough day. Cat got shot and 3 dead witnesses. It's like, that's a bit of an understatement, I think. A bit more than a tough day. I know it's a woman's decision, but I don't believe in that.
Yes.
All right.
The irony. I love that.
He's
That's
the worst. Just the fact that he's a bitter woman cop, too. I was like, okay. Just the way he delivered that line. And then finally, there's no way it's mine. I always pull out.
That is.
There were so many. That's what I'm saying. Like, overall, this episode, the lines, incredible, some of them.
It's hard when the writing is both amazing and not great at the same time.
Listen, all she does is Addie. She bottom line, she has ADHD.
Thank you, Taylor, for giving us the best lines. Thank you, Felicia, for giving us some good lines as well. I usually we would tell you if it was ripped from a headline or other news and such, but we're not going to have that today. We still have so much more to get through. Taylor, tell us about our poll, because we do a poll here every week. With it, Taylor's here. We do a poll on the show.
Absolutely. So when we last spoke, we were talking about theater tricks. This has never happened before, you guys. We had the poll saying, what was your favorite episode revolving around an actor or case with an actor? We have a 3-way tie for first place. Okay?
What?
3-way tie for first place. In second place, aka last place, is Reasonable Doubt, which is season 15, episode 22. So sorry, Reasonable Doubt. That's a little embarrassing for you. But
it's embarrassing.
The top 3 was Theater Tricks, So True. That got 29.4% of the vote. Also with 29.4% of the vote was Producers Back-End and Agent Provocateur. Honestly, these were all really good episodes, so like maybe it was right and written in the stars for them all to have tied, but I was just shook when I saw that those were all so evenly matched.
Wow.
This week, I'm ready to start some fights with this question, and that's because the question is, what is your most infuriating character exit? God, there are so many. We, of course, have Kat and Gartland, that we talked about. We have Barba, who I know Yael loves that episode. And then we have Peter Stone. Wouldn't be my choice, but if it's yours, go ahead and vote for it. It's actually quite a few people's choices right now. He has 16.7% of the vote. And in the lead currently is Barba. Okay. I know it. It's a little unhinged. So go vote and make sure that doesn't happen. And we'll tell you where to find that.
I was so sure that Peter Stone would have 0 votes.
Yeah, I don't.
And I'm shocked. I see some other.
Y'all don't like him. Other people liked him.
True. Well, they're wrong. So
they're wrong.
I tolerated him. With
Tiffany
his clothes
says Sister Peg, and I think that is a really good one. Thank you, Tiffany.
I'm gonna say mine is Snowball.
Stop bringing up the most heartbreaking.
Am I right, though? I'm absolutely right.
But if you want to remember Snowball, what can they do, yo?
Oh my God. Beautifully done. So we'll tell you where to find the poll in a second, but if you want to remember Snowball, heartbreaking. I don't know if you know this, but we have ridiculous swag that is available for you to purchase. And the price is not risen so that we could get a cut. It's the cheapest available because we want you to have this, not because we're trying to make money off swag. I want to clarify. We think it's ridiculous and would love for you to own this stuff. So you can find a Justice for Snowball swag at the link in the description. You can also get a Slammin' Pair of Jeans onesie for your offspring. And of course, you can get a prescription for orgasms as needed. With consent. All of this again in the link below. Yeah, before we wrap things up, it's time for our segment that we always forget about.
Girl.
What did we learn?
Skip me.
What did we learn?
This
is gonna take a second. If you're watching us live, please let us know in the comments what you learned. Maybe that will help inspire.
I learned that it was possible for me to get angrier about Kat's exit.
Oh.
I didn't think it was. It was. That's
okay.
all I'm gonna say.
That's good.
Did I learn this, or is this a hope? Through what I've learned, now I hope that we will see some very interesting, sharp twists and turns ahead of ourselves this season, and that all of this had to be for a reason. It's like, I know this is not so bad, but it's like, you know, in the movies, like shoot, sometimes in real life, when like horrible things happen to great people, and everyone else goes, it happened for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And usually I want to punch people in the face when they say that, because like the reason was it happened. Don't say happened for a reason. I don't want to hear that, especially if I'm upset. And that's how I feel right now. So I'm trying to tell myself, Felicia, it's okay. Everything happens for a reason. And I'm learning to have faith and patience. That's what I've learned.
Okay.
I can't control it.
Jennifer,
also, I find people getting slapped in the face hilarious.
Yeah, agreed. That was great.
Crying again.
Yeah. First says, I learned that I'm tired of detectives with sob stories. Yeah, there was a conversation going on in our chat when we were hearing about Velasco and his storyline.
Yeah.
And his like.
I want to say.
Yeah,
that was such a bizarre story.
You gonna keep the belt?
He died, and I took his belt, and I wear it so that I don't.
I was like, that belt don't have no miles on it. I've seen a belt with miles on it. That belt ain't got no miles on it. That belt looks brand new.
I was very confused as to why he's on a roof with a assault victim taking his belt off. And she was like, what are you doing? I was like, sir, please keep it in your pants.
I really thought he was going to hold on to it so I can pull you back up there. No, he had a whole little antidote with it.
He didn't need to take it off to do that.
No.
Tiffany says, I learned that I want to throat punch McGrath on sight.
Square up.
Fair.
Dang, Tiffany said on sight.
I'll say this. I learned that a lawyer can hit you. I didn't realize a lawyer could hit you.
I don't know if that's true.
He didn't get hit, yo. He got bitch slapped, and that's totally different. Like, he was like, shut up. He bitch slapped him.
Yeah. I guess that's what I learned. I don't know what I learned. I learned that I was disappointed, and that there was so much more that could have been done. I feel like we skipped so much of the actual case, because although the case took 3 episodes to like unfold, it was the least important part of the episode.
Yeah, it was like a backdrop more than it was like, it was the personal was really at the forefront here. Especially for fans watching, because we already knew what we were looking for before we started. We were looking to see where our two our favorite characters that were almost half the squad is about to go, you know?
So yes, I want to talk about the personal, because that's really important. So the big complaints on Twitter, again, were about a billboard. For those who saw the promo for next week, I'm going to pop this up right now. Hold on. Not the promo. I'm just going to pop that up. If you don't want to talk about or listen to the part about the promo for next week and what it looks like is happening, then the entire video section that has the spoilers label on, you can skip over. If you're on audio only, good luck.
Stay. It's fun. Just stay.
I just don't want anyone who doesn't want to know to whatever. So in the promo for next week, we're going to get answers about the letter allegedly. And there was a big billboard that had a picture of Olivia and Stabler, and it said what's in the letter, because I think they're like really trying to campaign. It reminds me of How to Get Away with Murder when they did the whose penis is it?
No, I need to tell you what it reminds me of, because this is a throwback. It reminds me of season, I think it was 13, where Olivia's on the plane, and it was all about
who's on the plane.
With a hand. No, it's whose hand is that?
Right.
And that's what it reminds me of. And honestly, I miss the chaos of the hand, and so I'm kind of here for it.
So here's what I know. A lot of people are upset, not necessarily about Benson and Stabler, not necessarily about the letter, but about the fact that the show has been veering into more relationship-based storylines as opposed to the cases and the victims. And I will say this show has been on for 23 seasons. It is okay if we veer into more of their personal lives. I will also say this show has always been television, and never has it been specifically an advocacy show for victims and survivors. That has been an amazing outcome from this show, that people have felt seen, that stories have felt heard. But this show is a television drama.
And I will say, I feel like we've been primed to do more of that, because I think that's slowly been something that's been introduced into this show. Like, I think the first, half of the seasons were very cut and dry case-based things. But in the past decade or so, I think we've really opened it up to more of that personal component, for better or for worse. I mean, there are certain episodes I wish it was much more case-based too, but I don't think it's changed as much as you might think from saying that. I think that maybe the marketing is changing a little bit more than the show itself, is what I will say about that. I think that's a completely valid argument and comment to make, but I do think that this isn't a huge jump from what it's been the past couple of seasons either.
I agree. And I think that, again, the show is a television show. They need to cause drama. They need to tell stories. They need to keep us invested in these characters and the evolution. We literally, Benson adopted a child. That became a whole thing. And then he got kidnapped, and that became a whole thing. So this idea that we're now dealing with a Benson and Stabler reunion and what that means in that relationship is not that different. And the show continues to be, a procedural. We almost always have a self-contained story. And if we do connect the other parts, then fine. That's what we do here. So I think if that is your complaint and stuff, I think you may have missed the mark. It's not like Organized Crime, which it's a season-long arc. That is not, Chris Maloney was just at the TCA press days, and he had said the reason he came back was because he did not want to do a episode of the week bad guy storyline. He wanted to do something more serialized. And so that show is like that. And I think our show will continue to be the way that it is.
Agreed. Well said.
All right. I'm taking down the spoilers warning so we can keep talking. All right. Felicia disappeared on us, and she might be back. Hopefully she is. But we've done all of our usual segments. So before we let you go, as a reminder, we are available on iTunes, and we've made a request that you go and rate and review us on iTunes. We have
And here's the parameters for that.
Yes, we have no new
5
ratings.
stars if you like us. If you don't like us, 4 stars. Tell us what we should do differently. 1 through 3, buttons are broken. Can't rate us that.
Yeah, you can. It just won't show up. So,
weird.
Yeah, somebody should get on that.
Or not.
Or not. Yeah. So if you write us a review, we will read it on the air. And your options for that is that I will read it in what has been dubbed my
phone sex voice.
Sure. Felicia could read it in her Gilbert Gottfried impression. And Taylor does accents.
Not well, but I've been watching The Americans, so perhaps Russian. That's going to be a thing.
That's going to be
so
great.
If you want that, which you do, in order to blackmail me, leave a review.
Yeah. Again, if you give us 4 stars because you don't like us, please let us know why. That'd be great. And we're on, if you're watching us live, we're on YouTube, so you can comment there as well. Subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Because even when SVU goes on hiatus, we do not. We do become more sporadic, but we don't go on hiatus, and we cover old episodes, and we'd love to hear recommendations on which old episodes to cover that we haven't yet discussed. All right. Also, we've told you about the merch that we made, the ridiculous swag. You can find that below. Next week, we'll be back at our regular time, as always, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, to discuss the new episode. So until then, Felicia hopefully will return before we sign off, but you can find her on Instagram at It's Felicia Michelle. And in a couple weeks, you can find me and her on the official Leverage Redemption After Show, a very distinctive podcast only on the Electric Now app. New episodes for Leverage Redemption drop on October 8th, and that is when the after show will become available as well. Taylor, where are you, and where can everyone keep up with you, and where can they find the poll?
You can find me and the poll on Twitter at alphaba_Ann. You can also find me on Instagram at Taylor_Gates_. I also write for Show Snob, which is a great site. I'm just finished covering 9 Perfect Strangers, which is wild. I'm now covering The Morning Show, if you're a big fan of that. So yeah, you'll be able to see me do recapping and articles on that. They're all on Twitter, so yeah, you can find me.
Before I tell you who I am and what's going on, I want to give out some shout outs. We have so many beautiful people in the chat today. Tiffany, Aaliyah, Jennifer, Samantha, Daryl, Zach. I think I saw other people. Mark J. Freeman stopped by, caught us live, which was wonderful. Sarah Lee was here. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us live. Again, I am Yael Tygiel. I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That is YAELTYGIEL. You can find me on the Hollywood Critics Association YouTube channel every Wednesday on a show called Hollywood Approved. We have celebrity guests, and we ask them what they're watching. We also do fan casting because we thought it'd be fun. And I have also the Foundation After Show, which is a new sci-fi series on Apple TV+. You can check that out on the Hollywood Critics Association YouTube channel as well. And, of course, the official Leverage Redemption After Show, a very distinctive podcast only on Electric Now. All right, that's it. You're caught up. Find me on the internet. I loved talking about this with you all. Thank you for joining us. I'm sad Felicia didn't make it, but she loves you all. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.